So we have a question about Adam HaRishón and what is the connection between Adam HaRishón and Adam Kadmón, right? So first of all, let's start with like what is the concept of Adam, right? What is the concept of Adam? So Adam is a very big concept in the Kabalá. Then it's all like goes back to the Torah that it says Nivra Adam b'tzalmenu kedmutenu, right? So there's a whole length, a lot of that was said about what is that tzelem and mut of Adam HaRishón, that Adam was created by that tzelem and mut in that shape, and we can discuss that in length, okay? But to make it simple, instead of trying to figure out what was happening in the source of the creation and then to track it down to ourselves, we can go the other way around. We can start from ourselves that we have like much better understanding of, and to track it back to its source. Okay? So let's take it this way. What we know about our physical dimension is that the physical dimension is a reflection and manifestation of the spiritual dimensions. And that's everything, without any exception. All the physical dimension is a manifestation and reflection of the upper realms. So we can say that about anything, but right now we are speaking specifically about man, Adam. So there is a concept of the shape of man, right? The tzura. Now, that point is very problematic because in the idol worshipping, all kinds of religions, they are taking that like too literally, and they think that the spiritual existence of that shape of man is like we understand physical. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful in those terms. Okay. So, for example, to make it that it will be a little bit easier to digest, the Arizal is telling us that the manifestation of the Sefirah of Chesed in the end result, in the physical dimension, is our right hand, for example. Okay? So when we say shape of man in the upper realms, we're not speaking about hand like this. We're talking about the Sefirah of Chesed. It's a whole different understanding, right? Mm-hmm. And so on and so forth. All those different terms. So all the terms that we're using when we're speaking about the shape of man and the all of that is a parable. We have to understand that it's a parable. It is not literal, okay? And somebody that he can't make this split in his mind, for those people it says it's better for them not to learn Kabbalah, because they can very easily get from those descriptions to think something in the direction of idol worshipping. Okay, so that's the reason it is problematic. Okay, so as much as we are able to let go of our physical attachment in our mind, when we, for example, hear like the word right hand, so to think about in abstract way as a concept of chesed and not without any relation to the physical, then this is the only way to really get into the real Kabbalah. Okay? Somebody that his mind is not ready for that, so he should not be involved with it, because it's dangerous, okay, to get to idol worshipping, God forbid. So, after we have this premise set, So now we can speak about the shape of man that appears in the upper realms. Once again, not physical, just conceptual. Okay? Not the parable, which is our physical being, the subject of the parable, the source of that parable, before it became to be physical. There's no physical, there's no shape. Okay? It's only spiritual lights, abstract spiritual lights. So there is the concept of the 10 Sefirot, right? That the painting that many people have when they think about the 10 Sefirot, right? The circles. So you have like Keter, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. That shape, in a certain way, we can say that this is the shape of man in the upper realms. Again, even that is a parable. There's no like circles like that are like standing in lines like that in the worlds of Atzilut or whatever. Yeah, but just to make it that it will be like comfortable for our mind, so we make a draw like that. We can say in a certain way that like you have a map, yeah, and you want to make like the point of King David tomb where we're sitting here. You want to make it like a point of that in the map. So you make a circle and you write King David's tomb. So now someone will come and he will look on that map and he will think that this is King David's tomb. It's a circle. That's it. I found King David's tomb. Yeah. So there's many people that for them like learning Kabalá is something like that. They look on certain shape, certain circle, and I got it. Now I know what there is in the upper arms. Yeah. Obviously, it's missing the point. And it's a very hard like point for many people to like loosen their mind from the physical attachment. It's not so easy. That's one of the main points of like the Jewish meditation, is to get that ability to let go of the physical attachment of our mind. Anyhow, there is that shape of the structure of the Sefirot, which is the 3 lines of Chochma, Chesed, the Netzach in the right column, the Bina, Gvura, and Hod in the left column, and Keter, Da'at, Tiferet, Yesod, and Malchut in the middle column. And that shape is called the shape of man in the upper realms. Okay? So that shape is found also in Adam Kadmón, Atzilut, Beriá, Yetzirá, Asiyá. Each one of the worlds have that structure. Yeah? And that structure of Sefirot, when came the time for the transformation from the spiritual realms to the physical realms, it manifested in the physical realm as our physical being, our body. Yeah? But the source of that is spiritual, abstract, light. Okay? So when we're speaking about body in the upper realms, we're speaking about spiritual vessels that, compare to the light that they are containing, it is like our physical body that contains our spiritual soul. So for us, we know about ourselves that we have physical being and we have the soul that is sustaining the physical being, that is something that is much more abstract, much more spiritual. So in the same way, also in each one of the worlds, there is these 2 kinds of light. The vessels, which is much lower light, meaning lower, it means like closer to the physical realm, but it's not physical. And the light of that realm that is coming from above, that is much more spiritual, much more abstract. Okay, so that's basically the concept. And now going back to Adam HaRishón, what was the creation of Adam HaRishón? So the Rashash, in the end of his introduction, he says that the body of Adam HaRishón is the vessels of the Atzilut. Yeah? The body of Adam HaRishón before the sin is the vessels of the Atzilut. So Adam HaRishón, he didn't have a physical body. Yeah? When he was in Gan Eden is not a physical place. You can't be in Gan Eden with like physical body. So when we speak about Adam and the Adam, Chava, the tree, the snake, all of that story, for us, like we are, unfortunately, we are like children. We think about this story like children book, like all kinds of pictures. But all of those pictures are making us very, very confused when we're trying to understand like the meaning of that in the Kabbalah. So the Rashash is saying, no, forget about the parable. Forget about the parable. Put the parable aside now. We're not speaking about children's book. We're speaking about a spiritual concept. So there is a concept of Adam HaRishón, which is the vessels of the Pin in the world of Atzilut. It's not physical. It's names, letters. Okay? And then, after the sin, when Adam HaRishón was kicked out of Gan Eden, then he came to this physical realm and got a physical body.
And as he was, when he manifested in the Sefirot, it manifested in the body.
When the world was manifested to be physical by the sin of Adam HaRishón, the sin of Adam HaRishón didn't only affect him, it affected the whole creation. In a certain way, you can say that sin have created the physical dimension. We don't really know like how did it happen. There's no details about it. Even in the most deepest books of the Kabalá, it's something that is like basically kept aside. What exactly happened there? But we have a certain understanding, which is by the sin of Adam HaRishón, all the worlds have like descended and came to be more closer to what we know as the physical realm. And the result of that is the existence that we know here today. So when we want to think about the meaning of doing the tikkun for the sin of Adam HaRishón, by the way, it also contains to go out of our physical dimension and connect to the spiritual realms. Yeah? As much as we are able to do that, so we are closer to the tikkun of the sin of Adam HaRishón. Right? Mm-hmm. And this is a big goal of the meditation. Every time we're doing meditations, we're trying to let go of our physical being and elevate our consciousness to connect to the spiritual realms, and there to do whatever is needed to bring those worlds back to their original place where they were before the sin of Adam HaRishón. What happened when the tikkun will be done and everything will be back to its place? We don't know. But in a certain way, we can say that everything will go back to that same point of time of Adam HaRishón before he did the sin. So, in a certain way, as if nothing happened. Yeah? All of those thousands of years of creation is getting nullified. We're going back to the square one, right? We're going back to the state of Adam HaRishón before the sin. Now, obviously, it's not exactly true. It's not that everything gets nullified and it doesn't mean anything, because the whole purpose of Hashem, that He set it up in this way, that there will be a possibility like that to come to this world, there is a purpose with it, right? So Adam HaRishón, when he will not do the sin, he will do the right thing when we're going back. So it won't be only him, it's also all of us, right? All of us are part of Adam HaRishón. So we are all there with him, or not with him, it's we're one. Yeah, that's a certain concept of the unity. And then when we're there and we are doing the right thing this time with the help of Hashem, so then it will be with the experience of these 6,000 years, maybe more than 6,000 years, but to make it simple, the experience that we had in this physical realm. Yeah. So then to do the right thing after we had this experience is a whole different meaning of if theoretically, obviously, we can't say would have, should have, could have, all of that is like, waste of time. But if there was a theoretical possibility that the Adam HaRishón would not make the sin, and we don't know if that possibility is really a possibility, but if there is, it would not be the same.
Would there still have been a physical realm?
We don't know. We don't know.
It doesn't say anything.
We don't know. But the point is that we are here because of the sin of Adam HaRishón, and a big chunk of what we're doing here is to do the tikkun of Adam HaRishón. And when that happens, we're all gathered together to the same first Adam HaRishón. And when he's doing that right thing, so then it gives all of that worlds the reason for their existence. And what will happen then? Bezrat Hashem will give us the privilege to be there and to see that, and to be part of that.
But if it goes back to like Adam HaRishón, and Adam HaRishón doesn't really do the sin, then we're not going to be there, right?
Again, we in the sin of Adam HaRishón, it smashed in a certain way, like all the structure of Adam HaRishón, and broke it to many, many small pieces, which is our souls. Yeah. The tikkun is to unite everything together to Adam HaRishón, and that he will do the right thing now. That we will do the right thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Bezrat Hashem. That will be another class. Bezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai le'olam.